I'd done this 100 times before. I was sitting at the kitchen table, sorting through a stack of mail and documents, while my father rested in the recliner, half watching a rerun of some courtroom show. He didn't like using computers anymore, so every few weeks, I came by to help him scan whatever paperwork he needed for taxes, medical forms, or insurance. My eyes aren't what they used to be, he liked to say, and these online logins confused the hell out of me. That day, the pile was thicker than usual. Hospital forms, insurance EOBs, and a fresh water bill that had gone unpaid. I had just covered the property taxes 2 weeks earlier, $2,178, so I wasn't surprised to see more red notices. It was routine by now. Then I saw it. A thick manila folder wedged between some junk mail. Estate plan, final, it said in neat, bold type across the tab. I wasn't trying to snoop. I didn't even think twice, honestly. I just figured it was one of those old wills from a few years back that needed updating. But the weight of the folder caught me, heavier than the usual stack of legal printouts. I opened it. Inside were several notarized documents, his will, medical directives, and something labeled Life Insurance Beneficiary Summary. I skimmed it, then stopped. The house, the savings account, the life insurance, all of it, to Marcus. Not split between us, not even a token mention of me. Everything was going to my brother. I read it again and again, looking for some footnote, a to be determined or share equally among children clause. Nothing. I looked up from the folder. My hands were cold, even though the sun was warm through the window. "Dad," I said, "what is this?" He muted the TV without turning his head. "What's what?" "This will. It says everything's going to Marcus." He finally turned to me, no surprise in his face, no panic. "Yeah," he said simply. "That's right." I waited. For a laugh. For a "just kidding." For some acknowledgement that this had to be a mistake. He rubbed the side of his temple like I was giving him a headache. "You've always done well, Danielle. You don't need anything from us." I opened my mouth, then closed it. Done well? Yeah, I had a decent job. A safe apartment, no kids to support. But that wasn't the point. I had done well because I had stayed. Because I had picked up the slack when Marcus didn't. Because I kept this house from falling apart while he chased gigs and excuses. "Is this because he's unemployed again?" I asked, careful to keep my voice level. "It's not about that," he said. "It's just, you don't need it." "But I paid the property tax last month. I paid the roof repair last fall." He waved a hand like that didn't count. "You're stable, honey. You'll land on your feet. Marcus, he's always struggled. He needs something to keep him afloat." "So you're giving him everything?" "I thought you'd understand." That was it. That was the whole explanation. I thought you'd understand. I stared at him, the weight of that folder still in my hands. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like his daughter. I felt like the help, the assistant, the one who comes in to file things and quietly leaves. I stepped outside before I said something I'd regret. The screen door creaked shut behind me as I sank into the old porch swing. The same swing I'd installed myself 2 years ago after the original one cracked clean through the armrest. Dad had insisted it wasn't worth replacing. Said they didn't use it anyway, but I did. I came over on Sundays, brought groceries, sorted bills, and sat out here while the laundry dried. Sometimes I'd sit for an extra 10 minutes just to enjoy the quiet, to remind myself I wasn't crazy for staying close after all these years. Now I just sat still, gripping the armrest like it might hold me up through this. I could still hear the muffled sound of the TV through the window, probably back to that courtroom show. Dad wouldn't pause it again. The swing creaked a little as my mother stepped outside. She looked tired, really tired, not just the usual sort of way. Her cardigan was buttoned wrong at the bottom, and she didn't fix it. She eased herself down beside me and rubbed her palms together like she was cold. Though it was warm out, I waited. She didn't look at me when she spoke. "I told him you'd be upset." I didn't answer. "He thinks Marcus needs it more. He thinks you'll be okay." I scoffed under my breath. "I'm not here because I needed a cut of the house," I said. "I'm here because you needed someone who'd still show up." She flinched at that. "I know." She was quiet for a long while, then added, "We didn't plan it this way. Not at first." Something about that made my stomach turn. "What does that mean?" She laced her fingers together tightly, like she was praying or trying not to shake. Marcus got into some trouble a while back, couple years ago. He took out a loan under his name. He told us it was for rent, but he used it to pay off some gambling debts. Got behind. I turned toward her fully. How much? 35,000, she said quietly. I blinked. And you… What? Co-signed. She nodded slowly. We thought it was temporary. He said he just needed help getting out of a hole. And now? Now the loan's in default. I leaned back against the swing, staring out at the uncut grass, the empty flower beds, things I used to come by and fix without being asked. So if he goes under, you go under too. She nodded again, and there it was. It wasn't just that they picked Marcus because he needed more. They picked him because they were already attached to him, legally, financially, emotionally. His problems were theirs now. So keeping him afloat wasn't a gesture of love. It was self-preservation. Everything I'd done all these years, fixing leaks, paying bills, being the steady one, none of it factored in. Not because they forgot, but because it didn't cost them anything to ignore it. I swallowed the lump rising in my throat. All this time, I said. I thought you overlooked me because I didn't need anything. She closed her eyes for a moment. We didn't overlook you. I looked at her sharply. We depended on you, she whispered. We just never said it. That didn't make it better, it made it worse. Because it meant they knew. They knew all along. The change didn't happen all at once. I didn't scream or throw a fit or storm out with a suitcase in hand. I just started letting go. I went home that night and sat on the edge of my bed staring at my phone, flipping through the dozen or so reminders I had set up for them. Refill Dad's blood pressure meds, pay the cable bill, call the roofer, trash pickup delay on Thursday. One by one, I deleted them. Then I logged into the utility account, canceled the autopay I'd been covering for 3 years, removed my credit card from the drop-down list. Same for the grocery delivery account, the pharmacy pickup, the lawn care guy. I didn't send a text, didn't warn anyone. I just let it all run out. For a little while, nobody noticed. My parents didn't call. Marcus didn't reach out. And I wasn't about to explain myself to people who had made it clear I was the bonus feature in their lives, not the foundation. It felt strange at first, like I was forgetting something important. I'd walk past the drugstore and instinctively reach for my phone to check if Dad needed anything. I'd see an ad for shingles repair, and my brain would start drafting a reminder for their house. And then I'd stop. It wasn't my house anymore. Wasn't my job. After about 2 weeks, the silence cracked. It started with a casual text from Marcus. Hey, you still getting Dad's meds, or should I swing by the pharmacy? No punctuation, no pleasantries. I left it on read. 2 days later, my mother texted me a photo of an overdue notice for the electricity bill. No message, just the photo, like I'd get the hint. I ignored it. Then came a voicemail. Hi, sweetheart, just wondering if everything's okay? Haven't seen you in a while. Your dad mentioned the internet's acting funny. Do you mind checking on the bill? Love you. That one made me pause. Not because I felt bad, but because of how carefully she tried to sound like everything was normal. Another week passed. That's when the message came, plain, blunt, and unmistakably her. Mom, mortgage is due. Can you send what you usually do? No smiley face. No heart emoji. Just a demand shaped like a request. This time, I answered. Me. Ask Marcus. It's his house now. I put my phone on silent and dropped it in my bag. The call came about an hour later. I didn't answer. Then Marcus texted me. Marcus. Seriously? After everything we've done together as a family? That was rich. I didn't reply. Because what he really meant was, after everything you've done, please don't stop now. And for the first time in years, I had. A week later, I got the notification, a new message from the mortgage servicing company sent to my email by mistake. Probably because I'd been listed as the emergency contact on Dad's account. Transfer request, $3,200 due. Attached was a PDF with my father's name at the top and a payment deadline in red letters, $3,200. They were drowning, and now they were grabbing for the edge, any edge, even me. I clicked mark as read, closed the browser, and opened the fridge. Poured myself a glass of water. The kind of thing you do when you need your hands to be doing something else. The next day, my mother called again. This time, she left a voicemail. "We just need a little help to get through the month, honey. Nothing long term, just this once." She sounded rehearsed, calm, but there was an edge under her words, something tight and strained, like she was pulling at every ounce of pride not to raise her voice. I didn't call back. Then came the guilt. "Dad, so you'd let your parents go homeless?" 5 words, texted like a dare. I stared at it for a long time, then reread it just to make sure I hadn't imagined it. Homeless? They weren't homeless. The lights were still on. The water still ran. They still had their pensions, their benefits, their retirement account that they claimed was tied up in Marcus's name for now. They were inconvenienced, not desperate. What they were missing wasn't a roof, it was a crutch. And I had been that crutch for years. No more. A few days later, I got mail. Real mail. An envelope slid under my apartment door with no return address. Inside was a copy of a foreclosure warning. First notice. Stamped, dated, real. They had listed me as a related contact. My address was on file. The note attached was in my mother's handwriting. "Please, help us fix this before it's too late." I stared at the letter, then folded it, slid it back into the envelope, and tucked it under the toaster. I didn't shred it. I didn't respond. I just let it sit. Like the sound of a smoke alarm, you don't rush to silence. Like the slow tick of a clock you no longer care to reset. That night, I drank my water, watched the condensation beat on the outside of the glass, felt the quiet press in around me. No bills, no buzzing phone. No obligations waiting in the corner of the room. Just stillness. Let it fall, I thought. Let the house fall. Because I'm not the net anymore. Let them feel the floor. It started with a photo. A black and white image of a wilting rose, posted to Facebook by my mother. The caption underneath read, "Sometimes love just isn't enough." No names, no context. Just drama, hanging in the air like fog. Within minutes, her church friends were commenting. Sending prayers. Stay strong. If they can't see your heart, it's their loss. I scrolled past it without reacting. But then came my father. He wasn't subtle. His post read, "You give and give and give. And then one day, your own child turns her back on you. No explanation, just silence. I hope someday she remembers who taught her what love really means." There it was. No room for doubt. He didn't tag me, but he didn't have to. The timing, the wording, the comment section. It was all designed to say, "Look what she did to us. Poor us." Then Marcus jumped in. He shared the post to his own page with the caption, "Some of us step up when it matters. Others just disappear." He added a selfie from the front porch, arms crossed, looking solemn like a soldier guarding the ruins. I stared at it for a while, unsure whether to laugh or scream. The swing I'd installed was gone now. In its place was a pair of beat-up patio chairs that looked like they'd come from a curb somewhere. The lawn was yellowed, uncut. A garden hose lay tangled across the walkway. He captioned the photo, "Trying to hold the house together with what little we've got left. But hey, not everyone has that kind of heart." The comments section exploded. Cousins, old family friends, neighbors who hadn't spoken to us in years. "That's awful. I thought Danielle was the reliable one. Breaks my heart. You all deserve so much better. Family should be family no matter what." And then there was my cousin Rachel, my supposed ally, the one who used to text me about how spoiled Marcus was, how she knew I was the only reason that house stayed afloat. She didn't comment. She just reacted to Marcus's post with a red heart. That one stung more than I expected. It was one thing to be disowned in private, to be pushed out quietly behind closed doors. But this was a public funeral for the role I used to play. And they were the mourners and the martyrs. I became the villain overnight, the one who abandoned her poor, aging parents, the one who left her sweet, struggling brother to carry it all alone. No one asked why I'd pulled away. No one asked who paid the property taxes last spring, or who stopped the house from leaking when the roof caved in, or who gave up every job offer that required a move, just to stay close enough to manage emergencies. That history was gone now, rewritten, and I was cast as the girl who had changed. I shut the laptop. Put my phone face down. Let them write their story. Because I was writing mine too. And mine didn't need likes. It was a Thursday just after lunch, when the receptionist at my office buzzed my phone. Danielle, there's, your parents and a man named Marcus here. They said it's urgent. I stared at the blinking light on the phone for a full 10 seconds before picking it up. Tell them I'm in a meeting. There was a pause. Then a quiet, okay. I knew they wouldn't leave. That wasn't how they worked. They didn't do silence. They did waiting, hovering, corners. Guilt in human form. 2 hours passed before I finally stood from my desk, slid my blazer on, and made my way to the lobby. There they were. My mother perched on the edge of the lobby bench, her hands clutched around a leather purse like it was a life raft. My father stood next to her, arms folded tightly, his expression unreadable, and Marcus was leaning against the far wall, staring at his phone, probably crafting another melodramatic post in case this didn't go the way he wanted. I didn't sit. I didn't even step fully into the room. I stayed just inside the doorway, arms crossed, voice calm. Well, my mother looked up, startled by my tone. Honey, we didn't want it to come to this. Didn't want what to come to this, I asked. This coldness, she said. This separation. You mean boundaries? I asked. Marcus scoffed from the wall. Come on, Danielle. You really think this is normal, ghosting your own family, after everything we've been through? You mean after everything I've paid for? That shut him up. Dad spoke next, stepping forward. This isn't you, Danielle. You've always been the one we could count on. That was the problem, I said. You never asked if you should count on me. You just did. We're not trying to attack you, Mom said, her voice trembling. We just want to fix this. I shook my head slowly. You don't want to fix it. You want to reset it. Back to how it was. Back to me paying quietly while you call me cold behind my back. Marcus finally snapped. You don't get it. You're just punishing us because you're bitter. No, I said. I'm not punishing you. I just stopped playing the part. That made them pause. What part? My father asked. I looked at each of them in turn. The dependable one, the fixer, the bank account, the second parent, the emergency contact. The invisible spine that held everything up, I shrugged. I stopped. And now the whole thing's wobbling. That's not my failure. That's yours. Marcus stepped forward, but I raised my hand before he could speak. You can go back to your post, Marcus. Keep telling people how abandoned you are. But next time you do, make sure they know I was the one who kept the lights on for 5 years, while you looked for the right fit. I turned to the door. Danielle, my mom whispered. Please. I looked back just once. I'm not your backup plan, I said. You just assumed I'd never walk away. And then I walked out. And this time, nobody followed. A few weeks later, I found myself walking near my old neighborhood. I wasn't sure why. Maybe out of habit. Maybe to see if it still stirred anything in me. The sidewalks were cracked the way they'd always been. The air smelled like grass and laundry. But something felt different now. Not just in the street, but in me. When I turned the corner and saw the house, I stopped. The lawn was overgrown, patchy with weeds. The porch railing I had painted 3 summers ago was flaking again. The swing I installed was gone, replaced by nothing. Just bare boards and rusted bolts, like it had never mattered at all. And in the yard, like some kind of punctuation mark, stood a crooked for sale sign, half sunk into the soil, leaning left, like even it didn't want to be there. I stood there for a while. No rush, no pull to go closer. Just watching. The curtains were drawn, the windows dusty. The flower bed I used to tend had gone dry, soil cracked like old skin. They'd let it go. Or maybe it had let them go. I didn't take a photo, didn't send a message. I just let the scene settle into my memory, exactly as it was. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A new voicemail from Mom. I didn't listen. I didn't need to. She'd left 3 others this week. None of them opened. I imagined them stacked like unopened bills, collecting dust, waiting for someone to care enough to clean them up. I kept walking, past the corner where Dad once tried to teach me how to ride a bike, past the mailbox Marcus dented backing into the curb, past the place that used to feel like mine, until I realized it never really was. The sky had that pale blue glow of late autumn, where the sun was more memory than heat. I pulled my jacket tighter around me, but I wasn't cold. just quiet. There was no triumph in it, no victory, just stillness. And for the first time, that was enough. They didn't lose me when they changed the will. They lost me when they believed I'd never walk away. And now, I was walking.